I want to talk to Todd Staples. Todd Staples is the president of the Texas Oil and Gas Association. He has also been appointed by our governor on the strike force to open Texas up. And so we wanted to talk to him a little bit about oil, what that means for everybody around the country, what it means to America strategically, and what we should do, and what should states be doing, and what are the metrics they're using so we know when we're going to open up a little bit more. Welcome to the program, Todd. How are you?
I'm great, Glenn. Glad to be back on your show, and thanks for what you do for our country.
Yeah, thank you very much. All right, so let's start with oil and gas. For the first time, America is energy independent. We are exporting more than we import, which is fantastic news. However, with that being said, now our oil industry is on the verge of collapse, we're told. What do we do? What should we be doing?
Well, producers are doing exactly what they need to be doing. The market is reacting appropriately to these catastrophic circumstances. Producers are limiting production. They are looking at the markets and making certain that they are the ones that are making the decisions for their operations. And quite frankly, we don't need government to step in and to develop a North American OPEC. That's not the answer, because producers can respond appropriately.
Okay, so you don't think Texas should tell the Texas oil producers throttle back?
That's right.
You're saying they're already doing it.
They are. Our companies have already announced over $50 billion in capital expenditure reductions that were planned for 2020, that because of the dynamic shock that we've had to demand, because of stopping global commerce. And look, we know in Texas that if it costs you $8 a pound to make barbecue and you sell it for $4 a pound, you don't need government to tell you to stop making barbecue. You can kind of figure that out yourself. And that's what our producers are doing. And we believe, Glenn, that is the most and best way to restore our economy, to get oil and gas back moving again and employing, thousands and thousands of Texans, is to allow operators to look at their assets, look at their contractual obligations, and to make those decisions. Now, it's not to say that these are horrific circumstances. When you have oil that trades for negative values like we saw a couple of days ago, that's scary stuff, right? But you don't need to react. You need to respond appropriately, and that's what our producers are doing to get through this extremely difficult time.
Okay, is it true that Russia was targeting our oil and gas industry and trying to collapse us?
Well, so let's talk about the global picture for a minute. That's a great question. A lot of people believe that Russia and the foreign powers' overproduction was an attempt to gain back market share that U.S. energy producers have captured. I mean, look, because of innovation and technology, the U.S. has been the powerhouse. As you mentioned, we are at a new level of national security because of energy security, and it is contemplated that foreign global producers wanted to regain some of that market share, and so they plan to, because the Saudis and Russians got in a tiff, they were fighting amongst one another, and it would certainly, their actions would negatively impact U.S. producers. They didn't plan on COVID-19.
It is accurate, however, to say that the last time we had trouble in America, we retooled, we reinvented, we reinvented the way we drill and the way we pull oil from the ground. So the last time we had trouble, we reinvented while they just bailed themselves out because they're government owned. And is that what you're trying to avoid here, Todd?
Glenn, that's exactly right. In the 1980s, those of us that lived through that, we remember the job losses, the drastic loss of value. We didn't go to the government and say, bail us out. We hunkered down. We reinvented. And then 2008, that occurred again. In 2014, right. 2015 time period, 70% drop in prices. And because of innovation, hydraulic fracturing, Texas and America is an incubator for ideas because of our free enterprise system. And our philosophy is don't abandon that now in a time of crisis. Let's go stronger through this, as difficult as it's going to be.
So the federal government has been saying now they've got another stimulus package, and the Democrats said last night, this is just the beginning. There's a lot more where that came from. I don't know where they're getting it. The cupboard seems to be a little bare, but there is a problem with people paying their rent and getting food, et cetera, and businesses staying afloat. But the real problem is not a shortage of money. It's a shortage of commerce. So you're on the task force to open the country back up, or to open Texas back up. What are the metrics that you're looking at that will keep us safe but also get us back to work?
Well, we appreciate Governor Abbott's leadership and focus on getting this economy moving again. You're exactly right. When you normally use 100 million barrels a day in the world, and that drops to 80 million barrels a day, there's nothing that can fix that except getting the economy going back again. And so what the oil and natural gas industry is doing is looking at operational procedures that we need flexibility on in order to manage through the crisis and to restart our sector of the economy. Things like permits, getting extensions from the regulatory agency. We want to be very careful that we do not compromise safety. We don't want to compromise environmental standards. Our industry spends more than any other industry or the government combined on innovative procedures. And so we're looking at things that can be done to help managers manage their assets the way they know to, by looking at flexibility in government permits and regulatory programs, so that we can get through this system and get back to going as quickly as we can. We also know that critical infrastructure, many of our field operations have been exempted, but the back office efforts, the planning and the strategy and the promotion, they have been curtailed. We need to get them back to work, maintain social distancing, use good, protocols in terms of making certain masks and gloves and all these kind of things. But those are the types of things that we'll be recommending to the governor. And I think he's got another press conference for Monday, and we're hopeful that we'll have some more leniency pretty soon.
Yeah, he's going to be on with us in about an hour and 15 minutes, so we'll talk to him a little bit more about that. The one thing that I'm concerned with the oil industry is these are the kinds of times that nations go to war in. I'm not predicting one. I don't want one. I think it could be the worst thing that could ever happen to us if we go to a global war. However, this is when people are backed into a corner. This is what happens, and I am very concerned that our oil industry is not damaged long term. That we would be able to be energy independent. Is there any concern? I mean, one of the oil CEOs just said we're going to disappear like the coal industry.
I think that concern is valid. I think ensuring that we have a domestic energy supply so that we can have energy independence is vital. But let's look at the facts here. The infrastructure that we have in the state of Texas alone, our pipelines, our ports, our refiners, our LNG export facilities that's moving clean natural gas all around the world to improve air quality, is right here in Texas. We know that our refining capacity, the ability to move product through our pipelines, the ability to access markets around the globe, our ports, our infrastructure is here. Now, is it a very valid concern about the future of this industry? You bet it is. And we know that uncertainty is the enemy of recovery. And so we need stable policies. We need tax policy that is not punitive. We need science-based regulatory approaches. And we need to not react in a way to get government to put its tentacles further into this industry by mandating the level of production, because the market can react much quicker than a government body can. And let's think about it, Glenn. How likely is it that Texas can coordinate with North Dakota and Oklahoma, and can we get all producing states? No. And so will all producing states have the same regulatory schemes that Texas would have that would be very difficult, and it would be more difficult to enforce and ensure compliance. And so we think making certain the fundamentals are there where we can grow, and to make certain, look, we know that monetary policy is important, right? We know access to capital. We need to make certain our federal government is focused on those things. And look, they need to be very cautious in dealing with our trading partners to make certain they're not flooding the markets. And those are things that will all make a difference, we think.
Okay, I'm up against a network break, so I just need a quick answer on this one. But Tuesday, they are going to the Texas Railway Commission is going to delay their decision on what's called pro-ration, which is what you're talking about. Do you think we're past that? Government stepping in and saying we need everybody to work together and start to fall in line with the government?
I'm afraid there is incredible pressure from some on the commission for the commission to take action. We firmly believe proration would make matters worse, not better. And our message is we need to focus on recovery, not on creating a cartel. So the pressure's not over, and the decisions haven't been made yet. There's 3 commissioners, and we appreciate the fact that they have not unnecessarily intervened, and we just need to get them focused on recovery. So we're not out of the woods, even in the Lone Star State here on the day after we celebrated the Battle of San Jacinto, where we won our independence. We're thinking about becoming dependent again, and that's the wrong move in our opinion.
Todd, thank you very much. I really appreciate your free market attitude and your aversion to government, state, local, federal, or whatever, getting involved in making free market decisions. Keep it up. If there's anything we could do to help you, you just let us know.
Glenn, you're the best. Thanks a bunch for letting me be on.
You bet.